Oh, it's contact. There's contact. And there's contact between Cheryl Paul and Campbell Pilling.
Welcome to Little Rissington for round 5 of the 2023 Daniel Ricciardo Series. We are heading towards the business end of the championship. Just 2 rounds to come after this at GYG towards the northwest of Wales, followed by the finale at Wilton Mill. Here at Rissington, we're in the middle of the UK's Air Force heartland, a circuit located in the midst, actually, of a live RAF base. We just had craft land and then take off again at the base, which is just to the left of turn 1 here at Paddock Bend. And for yours truly, it is the first visit here, but we're informed that that site is a first for those who have visited here on several occasions. Well, many of those driving here, particularly in our cadet and our junior classes, they're going to be hoping that this weekend is a springboard to a takeoff for their career. At the very least, those competing today will be hoping for better luck than the man himself, Daniel Ricciardo. Last time out, we arrived at Houghton Park in the wake of the news that Danny Ric had returned to Formula 1 prior to the Hungarian Grand Prix. Of course, this weekend saw the news that he'd broken his hand in a practice crash at Zandvoort, and everyone here associated with the championship will be hoping he is on the mend as soon as possible. You can see on our screen right now that the track location is listed as Cheltenham. We're actually about halfway between Oxford and the Twin Cities, as you may like to refer to them. Certainly in America you'd call them Twin Cities, Cheltenham and Gloucester. Halfway between them, right in the heart of the Cotswolds. Beautiful area of the country that it is. And it's a very, very twisty circuit. It's fast, overtaking difficult. As you see, schedule for today, the DRS62s will be followed by the DRS125s and then the 100s in each of our respective stages of the day. So we start with qualifying and then through to the heat, and then the pre-final and the grand final in the order. All of them going to be 62s first, then the 125s, our seniors, followed by the juniors, the 100s, and we will end with that grand final, of course, for the DRS 100s at 3:15. Of course, always subject to change on that one. Welcome back once again to Little Rissington for round 5 of the Daniel Ricciardo Series, and it's time now for our DRS 100 drivers, our juniors, to head out onto the circuit. And we've had so far 2 sessions that were very impressive for very different reasons. The dominance of Harley Drake in the 62s, followed by the immense competition of the 125s, and particularly in that battle for third place, Ethan Gritchie snatching pole by just over half a tenth, and then just 200ths between third to fifth. You would suspect we are going to see more of the latter with the juniors, traditionally the most competitive class of the 3 that make up the Daniel Ricciardo Series here. And we are due to get back out. Here we go. Whistle goes. Engines fired up. And one of the big talking points at the moment is whether or not we get bad weather. As you would imagine, the meeting has been declared dry. And I think many here are anticipating that will change at some point, but in the last few moments there does seem to be a degree of optimism about things holding as they are, we have a big cloud that's essentially over to the west, and that may be coming our way, but I would suspect that there's not much rain in that. It may be a little later, if anything, that we're going to see the weather, as there's one driver already off the circuit, and that just down towards Top Bend. You may have already seen the graphics as to who that was. We were busy trying to play weather forecaster, and that's out of qualifying already. So the driver that's just stopped over there towards the far side of the circuit. Meanwhile, we get the first times coming in. And for about a third of the field out on the circuit at the moment, clear air, not a factor. It's almost like a race out there in, among the bunch that's just heading towards the dogleg right now. As you can see, Maximilian Reed initially going to the top of the timesheet. It was Sutton who was first across the line, but now Leon Carabello with the quickest time. And a 43.1 before Sutton comes back around. And Benjamin Baker, they're tumbling at the moment as we've brought the lap time down by about 0.3. And now it is actually our novice driver on pole position, Jakub Milczarski, to the front of the field, and just 2/1000ths of a second ahead of Connor Scarisbrick. But now we have Karabelov to the top. Now, if you look at our timing screens, we will of course be able to tell who it was that had the trouble earlier and make that out for ourselves. As we see Scarisbrick going back to the top by almost a tenth. And we have 5 minutes to go. There's another one of our novices there, up in 11th place, Nearin Evans. And some notable names down the field. See, Daniela Sutton is back in 9th, Sherry-Ann Powell down in 14th, Charlie Ratford in 16th. And there's a track limit warning there for Sutton. She in the 143 heading down towards the dogleg and through it now was Charlie Ratford with a bit of a relief there, jumping up to 6th place. And we spoke about the lack of track evolution in the 125s. There's absolutely plenty, it would appear, here for our juniors. Still a pack just coming towards the final corner now. Some 6 karts racing towards, and now away towards turn 3. And one of those was our second place driver, Jakub Milczarski. Jack Robinson up to 3rd. Ratford now up to 5th. Sherry-Ann Powell up to 7th. And so some of those typical front-running names that we were talking about earlier just coming more to the fore. Jack Robinson now up to the top of 42.449. And we now have just a tenth between our top three. Just over 2 minutes to go now. Just seeing, are there still any familiar names or a bit further down? Daniela Sutton won down in 10th. And she was just leading, as you can see that they're just coming towards the final corner now. They're still right together, are Sutton and Sherry-Ann Powell. Maximilian Reed there receiving track limits warning, and he's one that's a bit further down the field compared to where he would like to be, down in 11th place. Reed coming into this weekend 6th in the championship. So we're just having a look at who's quick at the moment. Liam Karabelov was 10th off his quickest time a moment ago. And then Robinson doing the same thing, but up to 7th is Freddie Farrell in the 160 with 42.690. And here's a stat for you. First to 20th, less than 8/10 of a second between them. For context, in the cadet class, Harley Drake is on pole position by half that gap. Last chance saloon now for these drivers. You have to say, Jakub Milcharski at the moment is the most impressive driver of the session, but Freddie Farrell leapfrogs him up into third. Checkered flag now out. And it's Robinson that has it as we stand by just over a 10th ahead of Scarisbrick. Can anybody find a way to improve? Liam Karabelov coming across the line. No improvement for him. As here come now a trio of drivers. Sherry-Ann Powell in 8th, Daniela Sutton in 10th. Scarisbrick has finished the session and will not be able to leapfrog Jack Robinson. And that appears to be everybody now over the line. And so the only one that could improve in the end there, Freddie Farrell up into third. Jack Robinson in the end is on pole position. And that's a big boost in his championship battle with Charlie Ratford. They come in just 7 points between them. And Robinson getting the first big break out of the two as he grabs pole position with Ratford back in 6th place. It was looking dire for Ratford earlier in the session as he was down in 16th. So it's Robinson on pole by just over a 10th of a second. Scarisbrick is second. Freddie Farrell leaping up to third with that late lap. And Jakub Milcharski, who was at one point on the front row, by far and away one of the more impressive performances that we have seen by one of our novices this season, up in 4th place. Dorian Mallet 5th, and then Ratford in 6th. Rounding out our top 10 was Liam Karabelov, Sherry-Ann Powell, Benjamin Baker, and Daniela Sutton, and less than half a second covering the top 12. Very, very competitive as always in the DRS100. Coming up next is our first race of the day, the DRS62 heat in around 10 minutes from now.
In the 62s. All right, boys. So we're going to go around the outside. Okay. go mega fast down the back straight, okay? And then we're going to go round again. When you come up to the lights, okay, you need to make sure you're in the tram lines, looking for the yellow cones for the acceleration. Remember, you can't come out of your lane until the lights go off, guys, yeah? Okay, might rain, so keep an eye on your visor for rain, yeah?
So we don't go through the gold level, through the elevator?
No, not on the rolling lap.
Not until it goes.
Yeah, when you go racing, back to the normal track, all right? Ready?
Back we are with the heat here for the DRS100 drivers who are absolutely sending it around this outlap from the pits. We have had a little bit of rain in between the 125 heat and this race here. Once again, the rain coming from the same direction, just around the first corner paddock bend over to our left. Basically coming from the airfield, the RAF airfield, and it would appear as if we have gotten away with any significant impact on the racing once again, as we get ready now for these juniors to take the start, providing they get themselves slowed down. Here we go, Robinson will lead them, and side by side, big contact, oh, a huge incident! There's some 4 karts involved, and I think Ratford was one of those caught up in it, and it looked a very bad one indeed. We really, really hope Ratford getting up and out had another driver riding all over the races. We hear the races going to be red flagged. And it looked like the drivers on the, and here they are, they're coming to stop, but it looked like, from what we saw initially, the drivers on the left-hand side just kind of pulled across. Here we'll see the replay, and, well, it's a chain reaction, really. So 168, that Scarisbrick just didn't get a good run to the start, and over the top of Ratford there, that's the 160 that just rode all over the top of Charlie Ratford there, and thankfully okay is Charlie Ratford after that incident out of the kart. Whether he will take the restart will be the question. There may well be a need for some repairs potentially. Sherry-Ann Powell is still at the accident scene alongside Ratford.
No, the ones that benefit from that crash, they would have had the result of their life. Yeah, well, that's what happened with Max. When Max ended up in front, he got basically lost first place. Yeah.
Well,
That was a red flag.
a chance for
Got in front, and then you got punted out.
the spectators here and those of you watching on the stream on Facebook and on YouTube to just breathe a sigh of relief there, that everyone appears to be okay after that incident. And it simply appeared to be caused by Scarisbrick there on the outside of the front row, just not getting away right, and I believe it would have been Milcharski behind him, who had a sensational qualifying, that had to pull out to the right, and others around him simply not expecting that move. The drivers are going to get a talking to, and that will be standard after such an accident as big as that. But it's difficult to say really if anybody is truly and firmly to blame for that one. It seems as if really everybody in that accident a victim of circumstance after Conor Scarisbrick just simply wasn't able to get up to speed on the outside of the front row there. Tyre marks all over the kart of Ratford, who is now just wheeling his kart into position back behind Scarisbrick there, as the drivers all get their talking to. And certainly that's going to be a talking point at lunch to see exactly what the conversation is about here after that really, really scary accident with 4 karts being involved and Charlie Ratford having one kart climbing all over his back. Must be a very, very scary thing to be involved in. And fortunately, everybody walking away and seemingly fine. So for those of you just tuning in for whatever reason, a 4-kart pile-up at the start, interrupting the beginning of the DRS100 heat race here at Little Rissington. I'm sure you all have seen all the drivers just scattering a moment ago. I suspect everyone at the circuit has a much better idea than ourselves up in the commentary position as to exactly what's going to happen as regards potential repairs for the drivers. It does look as if, indeed, mechanics and personnel working alongside the drivers are going to be allowed out onto the circuit. You can see them out there now. And you suspect that this might be a relatively lengthy delay as a result before everybody can take a restart fairly. And of course, this isn't a senior level car race where once you're out, as we see the accident once again. And so it was Powell, Sutton, Ratford, and the 160 of Freddie Farrell there. And it was Farrell that rode over the top there of Charlie Ratford. But the incident really being caused by Scarisbrick being unable to get up to speed, and I'm sure that no fault of his, just a circumstantial thing. And behind Jakub Milcharski having to pull out as a result, and then the contact taking place. I believe Milcharski there would have come across on the 3rd place driver there, and that would have been Freddie Farrell. And then as they get caught up in a tangle, Farrell riding over the top there of Charlie Ratford. I think we should take a pause here because it does seem as if we're going to have a pretty lengthy delay here, as you can see the carts all being wheeled away from the track. So we'll take a pause and we'll see just exactly what has happened as a result of the fallout here from this first lap accident that has red flagged our DRS100 heat race here at Little Rissington.
Yeah, that was a good start. That was a good start.
Okay, wait there,
Why are we doing this just now? Where's Dom? Dom is literally
Are you in the awning or just check? You've got time. You've got about 4 minutes before they're due to come back out.
Yeah, that was my.
yeah. Yeah, no, nothing's done. Have you got another one?
He went outside, bounced, or you?
Yeah, on like the back of me.
Yeah, right there.
And yeah, I couldn't run for him. No, it was there.
There.
Okay, so it should be one person with the driver, please. And the group with the car on the floor. One person with the driver, please. Otherwise, clear the grid.
Mine, we don't need it. Okay, we don't need it for now.
Charlie, you okay?
7, 7, 30, 66, 3. Where's Sherry? Where's Charlie? Charlie put Sherry? Concentrate too much on one.
Well, that's it. So if it was in like that.
I know. Lucky you weren't involved because everybody on the outside.
Yes, that's it. Yes.
Mama.
You're all. You made more spots on it. rolling lap.
Try to go through rather than running.
Back once again with a race ready to go, or at least ready to go in a couple of moments, and hopefully it is much safer than what we had a few moments ago. Just spoken to Andy, consensus seems to be too many drivers going for the same piece of tarmac. One of those deals. Just fortunate to see that after such a severe accident that everybody is okay, and those who needed to get repaired got repaired, and it looks like we're going to start first time by, and indeed we do. And leading through the first corner there is indeed Robinson, and it's Scarisbrick who slots in to second place. Looks like everybody has held their grip positions. There is one off towards the back of the field. Charlie Ratford a little bit out of shape there, and one running wide towards the front of the field. It may well have been Scarisbrick. We couldn't quite tell. It was just out of our camera shot there on the live feed. Oh, and an off coming towards the elbow, towards the middle of the pack, as around they come to complete the first lap, and that might well be damage there. That going off there was the 166. And Sherry-Ann Powell is the one that went off earlier on that first lap. The 166, meanwhile, is Dorian Malik, who started up in 5th place. So one of the usual contenders with problems, and one of the optimistic front runners also encountering problems. Looks like Scarisbrick is closing in on Robinson here as we head towards the elbow for the second time. Third, meanwhile, getting a really good start, is that's Archie Cole in the 156. As we keep an eye on Robinson and Scarisbrick here. But Archie Cole started all the way back in 12th place. And a contact warning there for Daniela Sutton as you see them battling towards the kind of the midfield there, really. Going through the dogleg, Scarisbrick still all over the back of Robinson. Charlie Ratford recovering from that horrendous accident earlier on in 5th place, so up one position, and looking at the back of Freddie Farrell there for 4th. As they come through top bend and down to the dogleg, and Ratford, I think, wanted to make a move there. Jakub Milcharski has dropped back to 9th, our leading novice by quite some distance in qualifying, and held that 4th place on the first lap, but now back several positions as the front two come across the line once again, and that is the big battle out on circuit along with the 4th and 5th place. Robinson takes the defensive line, and still holding the lead as they go through the loop and the top bend. Ratford not in a position, nobody really among our front runners in a position to make the move going into the dogleg. And it looks like Robinson here may well have just pulled out a slight gap in that fight for the lead as Charlie Ratford now Still hot on the heels of Freddie Farrell there. I think Ratford, after, of course, it was Freddie Farrell that rode over the top of Ratford, as there could be a move on here, and Ratford does indeed take the place. Farrell for a moment there looked like he was going to try and continue fighting it through the second part of the dogleg, and through goes Liam Karabelov. Scarisbrick still shadowing Robinson, and Ratford now loses the place to Karabelov. So it's a great fight there for fourth, with 4.5 minutes to go in our heat. And what all that fighting between that trio means is that what was a three-way fight for fourth is now more like a potentially a 5 or 6-way fight. There's several drivers right together, and a move around the outside there for about 6th place, as we see that actually on our screens. As here comes Robinson through once again. And the move there was between Farrell and Sutton. So Farrell losing several places, having held 4th place there ahead of Ratford earlier on. And Ratford frustrated now in 5th, but this time behind Liam Karabelov. And a move there by Sutton, that is, on Farrell there, but Farrell getting the up and under as they go through bottom bend and up towards the elbow. Sutton going to look for another move to the outside. She goes, tucks back in, setting up something maybe into turn 1. Got to be careful you don't lose out there to Maximilian Reed behind. They round top bend. Looking defensive is Farrell. Sutton right on the back bumper there. As through we go around bottom bend. Scarisbrick is still right there in the battle with Jack Robinson. Just over 2 tenths between them, but can't seem to carve out an opening. Meanwhile, Liam Karabelov now is closing in on Archie Cole in the fight for 3rd. Robinson, it appears, is beginning to just pull away slightly now as they get to the dogleg once again. And now we pick up that fight for 3rd. Cole, Karabelov to the inside, going into the elbow. Got it done initially, but looking back round the outside, Archie Cole not quite able to get in position to make the pass going into paddock bend, and now Ratford will try and pressure for 4th place. Scarisbrick, meanwhile, back within 2 tenths of our leader, Robinson. So we have a fight for the win and a 3-way fight for 3rd. And really the key for Karabelov here has got to be to try and pull out as big a gap as you can, as here comes Ratford for 4th. Has to hang it around the outside of the final corner. Not quite able to do so, and that is allowing Karabelov to pull away as we have less than a minute to go. Might well be that we have 2 laps at the end of this one added on. And here goes now the move for 4th. Ratford gets it done but runs wide. And back ahead goes Archie Cole. And that, you would have to say, is pretty much settled third place for Liam Karabelov. As we once again look back, we're seeing Cole and Ratford on the screen, and that is the best battle on track. We're keeping an eye out on the lead as well. It looks like Robinson on this lap has pulled out a slight gap once again. And Ratford now goes for the opposite move from before and positions himself well to get the exit from the dogleg to get past Archie Cole. Going defensive now into the elbow is Ratford as we're on to the final lap. And Cole just clouted the inside curve but got a good run back on Ratford. And now Sutton going for fourth. That's fantastic stuff. It looked as if the unconventional line bouncing over the curb almost got Cole back ahead of Ratford, but it didn't. And as a result, Daniela Sutton takes advantage. Through the dogleg he goes. Scarisbrick still right on the back, but I don't think he's close enough to make the move for the win. As Robinson is going to hold on to the victory from lights to flag. We've got a spin in the midfield at the dogleg as Robinson wins, and it's going to be Karabelov into third, and who will take fourth, and battling over the line, a photo finish for fifth place. And it's Daniela Sutton that takes it, but there was contact through the final corner. Ratford in the end got fourth. Sutton and Cole battling right to the flag, and the gap over the line is 0.01, just a hundredth of a second in the fight for fifth place. And you do, in the end, have to feel a little bit sorry there for Archie Cole storming through from 12th to 3rd in the early laps and then falling back after being passed by Ratford, in the end finishing in 6th place. And so the top 10 in the end, Jack Robinson the winner, Connor Scarisbrick second, shadowing Robinson all the way. It's Karabelov who finishes third after a crucial pass on Archie Cole that Ratford took quite a bit longer to make en route to 4th place. Daniela Sutton nabbing 5th in that photo finish we mentioned. Archie Cole 6th. Maximilian Reed 7th ahead of Freddie Farrell, Benjamin Baker and Jakub Milicharski finishing as the top novice in 10th and comfortably the best novice in the end. And well, that was a race that after that accident on the initial start, a very, very scary one indeed. Great to see them all away and safely through the race. And in the end, it's Robinson, the championship leader, that takes a crucial victory. And we now head for our lunch break here at Little Rissington. And we'll be back on the air. It may well be that we take a shortened lunch. Of course, keep abreast of the live screens and, of course, the timing as well to keep abreast of exactly what's going to happen in terms of when we restart here at Rissington. But for now, that's the end of our morning session. Jack Robinson, the winner in the DRS100. Welcome back. We're here on the grid with the DRS100s ahead of their pre-final, and they have really seen a bit of rough and tumble so far this afternoon, and hopefully we'll get more action but less of that kind of drama. We'll go and speak to some of the drivers now. We'll see if we could speak to Jack Robinson first of all. I believe he's having some last minute preparations onto his car. Jack, are you happy to have a chat? Just want to ask you first and foremost about fending off Connor Scarisbrick during the first heat race. He seemed to be all over you the whole race, but you just kept him just out of reach for making a move. How much pressure was that for you?
Yeah, quite a lot of pressure. I think we just need to try and push and pull away from Charlie and Liam.
This race, are you expecting more of the same?
I think so, yeah.
Did you see anything about the accident that happened behind? Do you have any thoughts on it?
I don't really know what happened, to be honest.
Focused on the job, Jack Robinson. I actually want to go over to the back of the grid because there was an incident during the first race, the first heat, involving Sherry-Ann Powell, and obviously she then pulled out, so she should be towards the back over in 147, and we're just looking to see if we can catch her. It doesn't look like... So that's 114. Here she is in 147 over to the outside here. Sherry-Ann, are you happy to have a chat and just clear up something that happened during the heat race for you?
Yeah.
So, obviously you pulled off right after the restart. You were involved in the accident. Are the two related?
Yeah. There was. I just got hit off fan at that corner.
So you still had damage as a result of it?
I didn't get any damage. I just got hit off and I couldn't get back on the track.
Okay. So obviously here, it's a big challenge to try and get through all these cars. Are you? What's your target? What do you think you can get realistically?
I'm gonna try and get first, but whatever I get up there, that's all I want. Is to get up to the top 10. To go up to the top 10, that's what I want. But I want to get to first.
Fingers crossed for you. Build for the grand final coming up. Just want to see if we have a chance as well to potentially speak with Jakub Milcharski, who was excellent over in the heat there, finishing in 10th and as the leading academy driver. But right at the heart, of course, of that incident, some people weren't happy with you. But on one front as well, you were kind of caught behind Scarisbrick there. Is it just one of those things where instinct takes over and you make that move to the inside?
Yeah, it was just a bit of a late break and it's just a mistake that lots of drivers make. It's just random mistakes. We should need to learn from it.
What did Matt say? Anything to you? Well, obviously he said some things to you, but is there anything you're happy to relay about what he said to you?
He just said to stay in the tram lines and took like the line because Andy said to do it when the lights go out, but obviously Matt said to do it on the line, which I'm a bit confused about which one to do.
Are you worried about the rain here? We won't be able to hear Jakub anymore, so let's go over. Back to the gantry, and we'll bring you the start of this DRS 100 pre-final. Back we are, and ready for a start in the DRS 100 pre-final. Robinson holds the lead. Could be a move for second, but it looks like Scarisbrick is going to hold off. That it appears as if that might be Daniel Sutton actually up in third already. So a good start from the inside row. Robinson, Scarisbrick, it's actually looks at 130 there, so that would actually be there, Liam Karabelov, and that would make sense, of course, because he would have started in third. So through they come, first time around. And it's Ratford in fourth. Maximilian Reed with a good start up to fifth, and actually we rather put the jinx there on Daniela Sutton because she's yet to come around. Through they go, and through the dogleg. All in close contact, the top three in particular. Will Scarisbrick make a move for the first time today? He's almost bumping into Robinson as they go into the elbow there. And through they go, the top three. Robinson, Scarisbrick, Karabelov. Less than a tenth and a half between the three of them. And here comes a move. And I think there may have been the slightest of contact there. And Scarisbrick not able to make the move. And it's going to allow potentially Karabelov up in a second. Riding over the curb as they go down towards the dogleg. And through it they go. And despite all that close combat, we stay as we were. And now it's this time it's Karabelov looking to make the move. And if anything, Karabelov looks like the quickest of the bunch. It's so difficult to shape up a move into paddock there. We saw in the 62 race that Carter-Inskett Clarkson was able to do it. For a moment there, we were halfway wondering if Karabelov was going to do it. It's good on the brakes there from Scarisbrick going into the dogleg. We said that Karabelov looked like just about the fastest, but there is really not much in it at all, as it looks like we had a change there for sixth place. And the battle would have been Archie Cole involved in that. No, there's no change, as a matter of fact. And Karabelov suddenly dropping back a little bit. The gap showing us 4 tenths on our timing screens. Yeah, maybe that is about right, actually. Looked visibly less than 4 tenths, but now they just begin to spread out a little bit. There's just a couple of tenths between seemingly everybody. Around really 3rd to 4th, there's a little gap. 5th to 6th, there's a little gap. But otherwise, it's all close and nobody in a position to make a move. But like you say, just because there isn't anybody in a position to make a move right now doesn't mean that there isn't going to be a move in a couple of laps. You dare suggest it's almost certain there will be a move somewhere among them in the next couple of laps. And it looks like if that's going to come from anywhere, well, we were about to say that it's going to come there from the fight for 6th. And there was a little contact behind there. Cole and Farrell. I believe Farrell may have just bumped the back of Cole there. And now side by side at the exit, and 156 ahead of 160, and that is Cole still ahead of Farrell. And there's just a couple of attempts between 4 of them, and once again more contact, and that time got Farrell a little bit out of shape. So contact from Baker there, and right away you see the warning appear on the screen. Robinson this time having a little bit of a better time holding off Connor Scarisbrick now. There is a gap opening up, and it looks to be, and is, half a second. Karabelov now within 2 tenths of Scarisbrick for second. And you halfway suspect that Scarisbrick holding up Karabelov could well win this race for Robinson. We'll wait to see how it pans out with 3.5 minutes to go. Charlie Ratford not making any impression on that top three, surprisingly, as he has fallen back to almost 1.4 seconds behind Karabelov. So here comes that battle for second now, and nearly in position there for Karabelov. He was looking, he was trying to set it up. Just not quite. Look back to our novice drivers. Jakub Milcharski still the best of them in 13th. But Nieran Evans is not too far behind in 16th in a good battle among the pack there. Karabelov once again right on the tail of Scarisbrick. And Ratford is having to hold on to 4th place ahead of Maximilian Reed. Ratford on the defensive. We saw at Hooton Park these two title challengers just had their fortunes constantly swinging back and forth throughout the day. Ratford at one point 10th at the red flag of the heat race there, suddenly finishing 4th and then winning the grand final with Robinson spinning off. But here, it's Robinson that is holding the advantage throughout, and Ratford has lost 4th place to Maximilian Reed. And with 1.5 minutes to go, Robinson's lead now 6/10 over Scarisbrick. Karabelov looking to get the up and under and try and get a good exit there up against Scarisbrick, but Scarisbrick has good traction. And they come towards the elbow. Now through the final corner they come. Karabelov is so good at the exit of the elbow, and this time he is in position to make a move. 2nd place for Liam Karabelov. 1 minute to go. You suspect it's too little too late as far as the wing goes. And indeed, Robinson showing us 9.5 tenths ahead at the line. You suspect it's bigger than that, just looking at it visually. And now the question will be whether Karabelov can hold that 2nd place. Coming up to the elbow, so good. Oh, and Karabelov is hit. He's hit and loses 2nd, loses 3rd. Oh, that's so cruel. After such an excellent drive, setting himself up so well through the exit of the elbow. I'm sure we'll see, and yeah, there it is, penalty for Scarisbrick. And the big beneficiary of that could be Maximilian Reed, potentially a chance for him to move up to 2nd, 3rd on the road as we run out of time, so this will be the penultimate lap. And as a result of all that, Robinson is well clear, 3.2 seconds. Scarisbrick, Reed, the gap is 1.2 seconds. But Reed, really, we look behind, Ratford is a 2nd behind Reed. The battle, if anywhere, is going to be between Ratford and Karabelov, but even 4 tenths may be too much for Karabelov to make up. Farrell and Baker are very close together. Sherry-Ann Powell up to 8th from the back of the field, which she said that she was aiming for 10th. Wanting 1st, of course, but aiming for 10th as Jack Robinson wins Scarisbrick takes second on the road. Whether he'll keep that is another question. Carabello very nearly did get Ratford back. There's an attempt between them at the line. And in the battle for 9th place, Archie Cole just beats Cassidy Southall. Powell and Cole cross the line side by side to start the last lap. Just 2/1000ths of a second between them. And so, Robinson wins. Scarisbrick provisionally second. There is a penalty coming his way. We just don't know what the damage will be as of yet. And so we'll get the provisional standing shortly. Just some deliberating between Andy and Matt that we can overhear. But Robinson wins. Scarisbrick provisionally second. Maximilian Reed in third. Ratford fourth. Just ahead of Liam Carabelov, who was hit by Scarisbrick there, looking to keep hold of second place. And Freddie Farrell ahead of Benjamin Baker. Sherry Ann Powell with a fantastic drive from the back. And the top 10 rounded out by Archie Cole and by Cassidy Southall as they cross the line, separated by less than a tenth. So we now are going to head to what will be our first grand final of the day, and this will be our DRS62s. They're due out on track in just under 7 minutes now. So we will take a quick pause and be back with you for the first real honours of the day, the first of our grand finals that will determine who stands on the podium. So it's our last race of the day here, our DRS100 grand final. It has been a day of various ups and downs in this category. We saw, of course, the scary accident at the start of the heat race, where Freddie Farrell took off and landed on top of Charlie Ratford, and there were a couple of others involved, and fortunately everyone emerged okay and unhurt. And we had an exciting race after that, Robinson holding off Scarisbrick, and then of course Robinson having it a little bit more comfortable in the pre-final, while Liam Carabelov was deeply unfortunate to lose second place after he was hit at the elbow with just a couple of laps remaining. And now we head for what may well be our best race of the day. We'll have some way to go to top the 62 pre-final, however, as here we go for the start, and Scarisbrick moving towards the inside. They almost go 3 wide into paddock, and Robinson holds the lead. Around top bend they go. And is that's Ratford there, it appears, up into third. It is indeed, and just making taking a bit of a defensive line there up against Carabello. And through they go to complete the lap. Carabello right on Ratford. He looked like maybe the quickest driver, definitely the quickest driver early on in the pre-final. And he looks like the one most likely to make a move in the top 5 at the moment. As down towards the dogleg they go once again. Robinson chasing, of course, a clean sweep. And if there's any class where you probably least expect a clean sweep, it is here in the 100s, our juniors. Move being made for third there, but Radford's going to hold on, but then he gets a little out of shape coming through the final corner, and Karabelov takes advantage, and so too will Maximilian Reed. Radford from third to fifth in just a couple of corners, and Farrell and Milcharski waiting behind. Benjamin Baker in 8th and Sherian Powell in 9th, actually falling back after coming through to 8th from the back of the field in the pre-final. Scarisbrick is close to Robinson here, into the elbow. Not close enough to make a move by any means, but the pressure is on Robinson much more than it was in the pre-final. It's similar to the heat as it stands so far, but there is, of course, the best part of 10 minutes to go. And what, of course, can determine some of the result here, as we appear to have seen with Ethan Critchley in the 1-2-5 grand final, is have you kept your tyres alive with enough to give for when it really counts? Robinson still under a little pressure. The gap is pretty much the same as they come around the elbow once again. And into the final corner, it looks like we've got a move potentially for 5th. And that is Milcharski coming through. And past there, I think we've got a problem with the timing on the TV screen at the moment. But it looks as if Milcharski's moved up to 5th. There we go. And he's ahead of Radford now. And Reed, of course, was the beneficiary of that move from Karabelov a lap before. Radford, after such a superb weekend at Hooton Park, where he just seemed to bounce back from any kind of adversity he faced, here he just not seemed to have the ultimate pace. So around they go again. Looks like Milcharski's actually dropped back down to 7th place now. And a bit of contact behind him in that fight for 8th. And that appears to be between Farrell and Sutton. Though, of course, we are having some timing difficulties at the moment. There you see those resolving themselves, as Robinson once again leads them down towards Bottom Bend. And Scarisbrick is still right there. Through they go to complete the 6th lap. Just a couple of attempts between the front two. Karabelov in 3rd, Reed in 4th, and Benjamin Baker up to 6th. And Baker, not always a front runner, but he's threatened some good results at times this season, particularly at Shennington, where he was caught up in a collision that wasn't really of his own making. As through they go towards the elbow again, and they're coming up towards another lap completed. And once again, Scarisbrick, just like he was in the heat, he's right there, but he's not there to make a move. There's a battle there between Farrell, Sutton and Milcharski. Sutton leading the trio, Milcharski just being edged out towards the grass. You wonder if maybe he got a bad run through the elbow. As once again, Robinson leads them through the dogleg. And they continue to just be right within 2/10 of one another. It's a battle of wills between Jack Robinson and Connor Scarisbrick. Who will break first? Who will use up too much of the tyres? As we mentioned, Robinson going for that clean sweep, the 100s, the last class You expect to see a clean sweep in, but the opportunity is very much on at the moment, and it looks as if he's pulling out a little gap during this lap. But Karabelov doesn't seem like he's able to make an impression for second. Spreading out just slightly between that top three. The closest battle may well be for fifth. Charlie Ratford and Benjamin Baker. They cross the line, Baker right behind. Not going to find a way through into the loop there. He actually drops back in the first couple of corners through Paddock and through that second right-hander. Scarisbrick close back in towards the end of that last lap. The gap is once again under 2 tenths. Looks like Robinson may be pulling a little gap towards the end of the lap. Karabelov's still there. 5 minutes to go. Once again, Baker, the closest to making a move. Milczarski is close to making a move on Farrell as well. A tenth between the drivers in both of those battles. One for fifth, one for eighth. Scarisbrick that time, almost 3.5 tenths behind at the line. And still half a second from Scarisbrick to Karabelov. Looks like Scarisbrick maybe lost a little bit more time on this lap. They come round the elbow into the final corner. 4 tenths now between the top two. Still the gap holds between Scarisbrick and Karabelov. Just looking further down the field, Niran Evans is in 18th, the second of our academy drivers. Of our novices, rather. But it's like the battle may be gathering up behind Farrell there. Sherry-Ann Powell has just made it past Jakub Milczarski, and they're both nipping at the heels of Freddie Farrell for 8th place. Scarisbrick, meanwhile, just won't go away. It's 4 tenths, dropped a couple of tenths a few moments ago, but then much closer in lap time to Robinson on that lap. We asked who was going to break first, and seemingly none of them. There's a good fight. There's a move being made around the outside of the loop and making it stick into Big Ben. That now being picked up by your cameras. That's Sherry-Ann Powell and Archie Cole. And that was a great move around the outside of the loop there. Looks like Scarisbrick has closed up a little on Robinson this time by. Yes, he has, just under a tenth. Baker still nipping at the heels of Ratford. Like a tennis match, where the server gets to deuce on every service game, but never faces a break point. That's what this race is like now, if you're Jack Robinson. And with 2 minutes to go, do we have a big finish ahead of us? This race is just teased and teased drama all the way. Looks like here that Max Reed is falling back, so maybe Maximilian Reed is the first victim of tyre wear here. And Ratford goes wide through top bend there, and it almost allows Baker a chance to strike. He doesn't send one up the inside going into the dogleg. There's a problem there. 156 just walking away underneath that commentary position. As once again, Scarisbrick, it's about the same gap. It's less than 3 tenths, but just a 100th of a difference in lap time that time. Karabelov now has dropped back. It's a second between he and Scarisbrick. So the fight is for the win and for the win only as we head towards, well, now 1 minute to go. So the question is, can Robinson hold on for a sweep of race wins? And can Maximilian Reed hold off Ratford and Baker? Robinson gains a half a tenth on that previous lap. It's a repeat of the heat race for those two. We have our eyes at the moment on the stream on Ratford and Baker. Ratford has just shook him off for the moment as we are heading for the end of the time, and so it'll be 1 lap to go, and looks like Robinson has pulled out a gap. Last lap, half a second between them now. It looks like the major battle is for 4th place. Reed just trying to hold on as we watch Robinson going down towards the dogleg. And through it he goes, and even if you're 2 tenths back here, you're not going to be close enough to make a move into the elbow. And Robinson is just 2 corners away from a clean sweep of round 5 of the Daniel Ricciardo Series at Little Rissington. It is Jack Robinson that takes the clean sweep, with Connor Scarisbrick in second. Liam Karabelov holds on to third very comfortably, a lonely third place in the end as Maximilian Reed holds off Ratford and Baker for 4th place. And in the end, a race that just kept us on the edge for so long turns from an entertainment standpoint into a bit of an anticlimax, but Jack Robinson will not mind one bit as he makes the most of a fantastic opportunity to build a big championship lead over his main rival, Charlie Ratford, and he does so with the 3 wins. And Connor Scarisbrick actually will gain a bit on Ratford as a result of that. And if anything, it's second place where they perhaps just tighten up a little bit. But that is the end of the day for round 5 of the Daniel Ricciardo Series here at Little Rissington. We have the podium ceremonies coming up for you in what we imagine will be around 20 to 30 minutes time as we just take a last glance at our schedule. It's actually going to be quite soon. It's 10 minutes before we get to that trophy presentation and celebrate all those that have done such a terrific job today, including our novices and our academy drivers. But for now, for the racing, it is over and finished, and on to GYG for our competitors. But for now, it's that's it for the racing here at Little Rissington. Join us for the podium presentations in around 10 minutes. Welcome back to Little Rissington, and it's time for our podium presentations for round 5 here of the Daniel Ricciardo Series. We begin with our cadets, our DRS62 class, and we will start with the 3rd place driver in that category, Neo Luitho. And in 2nd place, Ruben Jenkins. We were trying to figure out if our Academy winner would have to stand on the podium twice, but it's top step on the Academy podium for Carter Inskip Clarkson. Well, that, I think, is the only mistake that Carter's made all afternoon. Congratulations to Carter and to our academy drivers on the podium this afternoon. And now it is time for our DRS62's overall podium presentation. And in third place is Lucas Esser. And in second place, Harley Drake. And our overall winner for DRS 62's, Ashton Redpath. Time now for our DRS 125 podium presentation. And as they leave, we say congratulations to our DRS 62 Supers. Our novice winner for the 125's 9th place overall, Ryan Williams. And third place overall in the DRS 125's, Henry Foote. Coming out on top for second place in that great battle with Henry Foote was Oliver Owen. And our overall winner, Sam Faulkner. Congratulations to our podium finishers and to our academy winner in the DRS 125's, our novice winner, I should say. And the novice winner for the DRS 100 was Jakub Milcharski. Now for our overall podium finishers in the DRS 100, in third place, Liam Karabelov. Snapping on the heels of our winner all day was second place, Connor Scarisbrick. And holding on for a trio of wins was Jack Robinson. And a final congratulations to our podium finishers and A couple of a real sweetener for these drivers. To add to the podium presentations. And a final congratulations for our DRS100 podium finishers. Well, it's Glannygores next up, and then the finale at Wilton Mill for these drivers. And, well, I mean, if we get action like that, then it should be pretty exciting as we wrap up this championship. Ben McPhillips joining you here from Little Rissington, here for round 5 of the Daniel Ricciardo Series. Thank you for joining us.